Welcome back, controllers. This is Tyler with Flying Development Studio, and you're watching another Infinite Flight air traffic control tutorial, where today we're talking about departure control. Although aircraft spend the shortest amount of time on this frequency, it's one of the most important components to any smooth operating airport around the world. The purpose of departure is to help aircraft transition from the departure phase to the en route phase of their flight, and with multiple aircraft in close proximity like we see here, it's important that we help provide that initial separation before handing off the center. With multiple aircraft calling up at the same time, it's important that we have a plan and remain calm. So I have two aircraft that are departing right here off of runway 25, and they're next to each other. So Alpha 8 Juliet Sierra called first, but I'm going to talk to the one on the outside, which is November 1 Yankee Zulu. They're both requesting radar vectors to San Diego. So first I'm going to give this left-hand turn heading 130 to November 1 Yankee Zulu, and then I'll give an initial climb so that he can keep climbing on departure. Now I'm going to go back and give another altitude of flight level 210 or 21,000. Now as I wait for the aircraft to make that left turn and deconflict my parallel departure a little bit, I'll go back to the Cessna 208 departing that's requesting an ILS approach at Van Nuys. Now departure does not issue an ILS approach, but I can still get him pointed in the right direction before we hand off to center and eventually approach. So I'm going to give him a right hand turn and assign him an altitude of 5,000 feet. Now he's done, and we'll go ahead and keep watching for him to make that turn and get established before we hand him off. Okay, as I'm still waiting for that first aircraft to make his turn, I can still go back to Alpha 8 Juliet Sierra, who's right next to him, and respond to his radar vector request and also climb him up to flight level 190 or 19,000. Remember, the first aircraft was going to 21,000, so I'll deconflict by altitude. While I'm waiting, I'll go back to the next departure, who's November 241 Delta Kilo, who's also requesting radar vectors to San Diego. Now that my first aircraft is established in the turn, I'll give Alpha 8 Juliet Sierra his turn to San Diego, and I'll give him a heading of 140 rather than 130 to deconflict by heading. The next aircraft at the top of your screen is November 1 Bravo Golf, who's requesting an ILS approach at Van Nuys. Now just like our Cessna 208, who also requested the same thing, we'll just point him at the airport, give an altitude, and then once he's established on that turn, we'll give him to center. Now let's jump back down to our 25 departures. November 241 Delta Kilo is still flying runway heading, but we can go and issue an altitude now, and I'm going to give him 17,000 feet. Now if we look at the three aircraft going to San Diego, the first one's at 21,000, the next is at 19,000, and then the third is at 17,000. So again, departure's whole job is to deconflict the aircraft before giving it to center, who's eventually going to vector them to their destination. So as you can see, this is pretty hectic, so if you forget what the aircraft are requesting, you can just look on their flight progress strip and it shows you exactly what they want. So the first one shows radar vectors to San Diego, ILS to 16 right at Van Nuys, and so on. So now that I see aircraft are becoming established to their destination and the headings that I issued, I'm going to start giving a frequency change to center. The last thing I'll do is go back to November 241 Delta Kilo, and I'll give him a heading of 130. Once I see him established on that, I'll give him a handoff to center, and we're done. So as you can see here, departure is all about having a plan and remaining calm. Aircraft departing an airport with departure available are expected to fly runway heading until given further instructions, so you have time to build a plan here. Remember, departure is all about issuing that initial heading and altitude before handing off to center. So I want to thank you all for checking out this tutorial. Like and subscribe for more, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This is Tyler, and I look forward to seeing you next time.